Have you ever wondered about the intricacies of Kenyan labor laws and contracts of employment? The world of labor laws is a complex yet captivating labyrinth, and understanding it is crucial. Why, you ask? Well, for one, it helps in ensuring fair treatment for all employees, and for another, it aids in avoiding any legal hassles that could arise from non-compliance. Now let's talk about Kenyan labor laws. These laws, like any other, are designed to protect both the employee and the employer. They help establish a harmonious working relationship, ensuring that the rights of all parties involved are upheld. But why do we focus on Kenya? Simply put, Kenya's labor laws are an excellent example of a balanced and comprehensive legal framework. They can serve as a valuable reference point, not just for those in Kenya, but for anyone keen on understanding global labor practices and standards. Let's delve into the specifics of Kenyan labor laws on contracts of employment. In Kenya, the contract of employment is more than just a piece of paper. Let's dive in and break this down. What is a contract of employment according to Kenyan law? Simply put, it's a legally binding agreement between an employer and an employee. It's a roadmap that governs the working relationship between these two parties. It's not just about the signature at the bottom of the page, but the contents within it. At the heart of this contract are some essential elements. The first of these is the parties involved. This includes the employer who offers the job and the employee who accepts the offer. Both parties must be clearly identified for the contract to be valid. Next, we have the nature of the job. This outlines what the employee is expected to do. It could be anything from managing a team, to operating machinery, to drafting legal documents. The specifics of the job need to be clearly articulated so that everyone is on the same page about what's expected. Then, we have the remuneration. This is where the contract stipulates how much the employee will be paid for their work. It's more than just the basic salary. It includes allowances, benefits, and bonuses, if any. Once again, clarity is key here. The employer must state how and when the employee will be paid. Lastly, we have the duration of the contract. This could be for a fixed term, or it could be open-ended. The contract should clearly state when the employment starts and, if applicable, when it ends. These core elements form the foundation of the contract of employment. They provide a clear understanding of what is expected from both parties, and they establish the rules of engagement for the working relationship. That's the contract in a nutshell. But what about the different types of contracts? Did you know that in Kenya, not all employment contracts are created equal? Yes, you heard that right. There are a few varieties to consider, each with its own unique characteristics and uses. Let's dive right in, shall we? First up, we have contracts for a definite period. As the name suggests, these contracts have a fixed end date. Imagine you're hiring an employee for a specific project that you expect to last 6 months, or perhaps a seasonal worker for the holiday rush. In such cases, a contract for a definite period comes in handy. It's clear, concise, and everyone knows when it ends. It's like having a timer on your employment relationship. Next in line are contracts for an indefinite period. These are the type of contracts that don't have a predetermined end date. Instead, they continue until either the employer or the employee decides to terminate the contract. This is the most common type of contract for full-time, permanent employees. You might think of it as an ongoing narrative, with chapters being written as long as both parties are willing to continue the story. Last but not least, we have contracts for a specific task. This type of contract is used when an employer hires someone to complete a particular task or project, regardless of how long it takes. It's not tied to a calendar, but rather to a goalpost. Once the task is completed, the contract ends. It's like running a race. The finish line is not a date, but the completion of a task. But remember, each type of contract has its own pros and cons, rights and obligations. It's crucial to understand these differences before you sign on the dotted line. A well-informed decision can save you from a lot of potential headaches down the road. But what happens if things go south and a contract is breached? Well, that's a topic for our next scene, so stay tuned. Scene script. Even with the best intentions, sometimes contracts get broken. What then? Under Kenyan labor law, a breach of contract occurs when either party fails to fulfill their end of the agreement. This could be an employer not paying an agreed salary on time, or an employee not performing their duties as stipulated. So, what happens when a contract is breached? Well, the consequences can be severe for both parties involved. For the employer, if they breach the contract, they may be taken to court by the employee for non-compliance. They could face penalties such as being ordered to pay damages to the employee, or even face a legal injunction forcing them to uphold the terms of the contract. On the flip side, If an employee breaches the contract, it can lead to termination of their employment. This can occur if they fail to perform their duties as outlined in the contract, or if they behave in a manner that seriously damages the relationship of trust and confidence between them and their employer. However, it's important to note that termination is not an automatic consequence. The employer must first follow the proper procedures as outlined in the Kenyan labor law. This includes issuing a formal warning, providing an opportunity for the employee to improve, and holding a fair hearing before making the decision to terminate. In more serious cases, an employer might seek legal action against an employee for damages caused by the breach. This could be financial damages such as loss of business revenue or non-financial damages, like damage to the company's reputation. But remember, it's not all doom and gloom. Breaches of contract can often be avoided with clear communication and understanding of the terms and conditions of the contract from the outset. In order to avoid these unpleasant outcomes, it's crucial to understand the rights and responsibilities of both parties. So, let's delve into those in our next scene. A contract of employment is a two-way street with rights and responsibilities for both the employer and the employee. In the realm of Kenyan labor law, employers and employees share a symbiotic relationship. Each party has its own set of rights and responsibilities, which are designed to foster a respectful, productive, and safe working environment. Let's start with the employer. Employers have the responsibility to treat all employees fairly and without discrimination. This means not just in hiring practices, but in all aspects of employment, including promotions, training, and termination. They are also responsible for paying employees as agreed in the employment contract. This includes overtime and allowances which are stipulated under Kenyan labor law. Furthermore, employers must ensure that employees work in safe and healthy conditions. This involves providing protective equipment where necessary and adhering to all health and safety regulations. In turn, employees have the right to refuse to work in conditions they deem unsafe. Now let's shift to the employees. Employees too have responsibilities under the Kenyan labor law. They must perform the tasks assigned to them to the best of their abilities, and must conduct themselves in a manner that upholds the reputation of the company. They are also required to obey reasonable orders and instructions given by their superiors. In return, employees have the right to a fair remuneration for their work. They are entitled to regular rest periods and annual leave, as outlined in their employment contract. They also have the right to join or form trade unions, and to engage in collective bargaining. Moreover, both employers and employees have the right to terminate the employment contract, provided they do so in accordance with the conditions outlined in the contract and the Kenyan labor law. In essence, the rights and responsibilities of employers and employees serve as the pillars of a balanced and harmonious working relationship. They ensure that both parties are treated with respect, and that their interests are protected. It's clear that understanding these laws can create a more harmonious and productive working environment. We've taken a deep dive into Kenyan labor laws on contracts of employment. Together, we've unpacked the intricacies of the contract, unearthing its various components and understanding their implications. We've explored the different types of contracts, each with its unique characteristics and requirements. We didn't shy away from the more challenging aspects, delving into what happens when a contract is breached and the consequences that follow. We've also looked at the rights and responsibilities that come with each contract, a crucial step in ensuring fair and just work environments. In essence, we've journeyed through a world that may have seemed complex and intimidating, but hopefully, it's now a little less so. Each piece of knowledge you've gained is a tool in your toolkit, empowering you to navigate the world of employment contracts with confidence. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to labor laws. Stay informed and stay ahead. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Kenyan labor laws. We hope you found this deep dive enlightening. Your journey, however, doesn't stop here. We invite you to subscribe to our channel, where we continue to unravel the complexities of various topics, shedding light on what may seem daunting at first. In the world of labor laws, staying informed is not just an advantage, it's a necessity. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and keep adding to your toolkit of knowledge. Let's stay ahead together. Until next time.